Greetings, brothers. Good evening. Thanks for being here. Hope you're all well. Nice to see you. Hello, Martin. I'm just getting set up. I need like one more minute. And I think we were supposed to be filming a podcast episode tonight, but unfortunately, that's been cancelled. So let me see if this is going to work. Good evening, Tony. Good evening, Teak. Yeah, I'm doing well enough. I'm annoyed that I don't have any good brushes here at the moment. All my good brushes are, I think, packed away in storage.
John, can you hear me all right?
Good evening, Tony. How you doing?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to load up the Discord app because I get more customization on that. Close. I'll be right back. Alright, let me just pump your volume a little bit. Go for it. Speak. Say hello.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yeah, can people in chat hear Tony okay? Give us a minute, Tony. How's things anyway with you?
Oh, not too bad. COVID's no joke.
Yeah. When did you find out you had it?
Monday night. I was a bit rough at the weekend, and then Monday I couldn't even breathe.
Oh, really? So did you have to go to hospital or anything?
So they had to send me home, as it were. Nah, not that bad.
Oh, that's good enough to know, I guess. Yeah, I figure it's, you know, we've been keeping ourselves to ourselves now for what seems like forever, I guess. Because of, you know, I had a couple other friends that had COVID, and they said, like, you know, they were all double vaccinated and it still hit them pretty hard.
Yeah, I am. But the way things are at the moment, all the kids have gone back to school. So we've got half a dozen, maybe a dozen now, teachers out.
Yeah, I suppose it spreads like wildfire around the kids, does it?
It's hard to isolate from. Yeah, it does. You know, 30 teenagers in a room.
Yeah. Good evening, Steve. How you doing? If people can hear Tony okay, please let me know, because we haven't really done this with. I don't think I've ever I have live streamed with somebody once before. Yeah, Tony's hanging out. We were going to be filming some podcast episode, but it didn't quite come to pass. So what's new with you in Hobbyland, Tony? You been doing anything? Feels like we haven't spoken ages.
Yeah, it's. I'm working on some commissions at the moment, so as we speak, I'm painting up or trying to finish off this supremacy armor. This has been hanging around my head like a chain now for about 3 months.
I was going to say, can you hear me okay? Because I'm not actually sure which microphone it's coming through on.
I can, but I've got a really weird delay, so I hear you through the stream, and then I hear myself sort of like about 5 seconds after I've said something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess the stream's a little bit... But the stream is a few seconds behind, but okay, as long as you can hear me fine, that's cool. So, do you do commissions like for people online as well, or is it just locals you're doing commissions for?
I've done the odd one, but I've got quite a lot of like local work, so I took on rather stupidly a couple of like army commissions, grossly overestimating the amount of time that I can spend on a project.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So my Thunderhawks, my Thunderhawks still haven't filled in the gaps or base coated or anything yet.
When did you buy the Thunderhawk? Was that this year?
Yeah, it must have been July time.
Okay, so you've not had it that long actually. In the grand scheme of things, for like a 4-year-old model, I guess you haven't actually had it that long. Because I'm sure it took me like 3 months to do my falchion. Good evening,
No, not
Rizio.
really. I thought it would be a good thing to buy with all this money I was making from commissions, without really thinking about the fact that I can't do anything like painting it.
Yeah. No, I've had this cough now for like... It's definitely not COVID because I've done tests for it, but like I feel like my immune system has forgotten how to fight things. Being at home for 18 months or whatever it was, and I started back in the office like maybe 2 weeks ago now, full time pretty much. And like been back in the office for like no time at all, it felt like, and it was like, alright, I have a cough and a cold. I did COVID tests. My wife did COVID tests because she got it as well, obviously, and she's pregnant, so she did a bunch of tests. But no, it's just this really nasty cold that's gone around, and I thought I shooken it, and then like this week the cough's back, you know. So it's like the joys of mingling after not mingling for so long.
Yeah. We've got more kids off now than we've had ever. And it's not just COVID, it's mostly this bloody cold.
Steve took on a commission of 15,000 Sun Terminators, and he wanted to go play in traffic by the end of it. Yeah, I mean, I find it hard.
Yeah, they're pretty decorative, those.
Yeah, and yellow over just about any colour is a nightmare, so you have to do so many coats of the yellow to get it to look good, I guess.
I think they'll look wicked when they're done. I was dumb enough to buy that Hexfire box.
Yeah, Xfire was a cool box. What do you think about the boxes they released this week then, and the price of them? Like, because it feels like it's getting a bit silly. You clued up on the releases that they showed this week?
Getting a bit silly? It's ridiculous, isn't it? But I do like those new Black Templar models.
Yeah, but I think from my understanding of it, it's 13 models and it's $125. So basically like £10 per guy. I mean, sure, you get a book in there as well, but like me and Andrew have been debating.
It's the same as the old Sisters box.
Was it? I mean, me and Andrew have been debating the fact that like we think it'd be better.
Yeah, when Sisters got redone in 8th edition, they released the same sort of thing.
Was it? I don't remember it being 120. I guess inflation is pretty bad at the moment.
It was still 125, although you got a few more models in it, but they were all monopose.
Okay. And I guess these Black Templars aren't monopose, are they?
I hope not, for 125 quid.
Yeah, I guess. Time will tell.
Which is silliest, UK prices, US or Australia? Australia by far, Resi.
Yeah, I mean, it must be hard to be in this hobby in Australia because you have to pay a lot. Yeah. I've been trying to use the Terminators in a few games now, Sora, and I've been trying to use them as like a strong unit that I can send away on their own to just hold an objective. And it's been going okay. I was previously trying to do that with Vanguard veterans and it wasn't really working for me, so I just thought I'd plane up a squad of Terminators. I don't know if they will feature in my competitive list, but right now it's going okay. I'm so jealous of the new Black Templar model, says James. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like getting a cool new box with loads of models in it, it kind of sucky that Blood Angels didn't get that for 8th edition and 9th edition, right? So I'm pretty sure we would have all liked.
The last time we did get some new models, I can't even remember, apart from that silly Lieutenant model they did.
We got Primaris Death Company, but nobody uses them because they don't have jump packs. And the reason you don't remember is because nobody uses them.
They're not even new models, though. Are they just the intercessors?
Yeah, they're just assault intercessors, and they threw in a Blood Angels upgrade sprue into them. And I mean, technically, a year before that, we got Mephiston. I don't think that counts as a new model. Yeah, we got Mephiston. I guess he counts as a new model, but people, after they saw Mephiston this week, a few people were like, don't give up on Mephiston. So I thought maybe we'll run him in one more battle, but I'm really not convinced by him. I
stand by what we said on the tier list. He's cool, but that sword is just too unreliable.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what happened this week. His damage was just unreliable and he died. I think
he doesn't even really bring any utility.
Well, that's just the thing. I think if I'm going to run Mephiston again, I'm going to run him like defensively. And I know I know I run a lot of my units defensively, but he just doesn't work offensively anymore, right? Like if you jump him in, what happens is what happened in the game against Andrew is you jump him in, he doesn't kill what he fights because, like you said, his sword isn't that reliable, and then he dies. So like you can't use him in the way you used to be able to use him, where it's like, okay, well, I'll fight again with Mephiston. So you kind of made up for his sword being unreliable because you could fight twice, and you could also Red Rampage to get a D3 additional attacks. So you could kind of play around his unreliability, but I feel like you can't now.
Well, you put in a lot of effort to try and make him work, and he doesn't really either. And that's just a bit sad, really.
Yeah, it is a bit sad. So, I have a funny story to tell, I guess, you and everybody in chat. And I'm not sure if you guys follow Evan. Some of you guys might know him. He is a moderator in this channel, but I guess he's pretty busy, so he's not active as much as Tony and Mark. But he has a YouTube channel called Origin Painting, right? And he just hit 1,000 subscribers, so like big congrats to Evan. It's not easy to get to 1,000 subscribers, and he was going to do a giveaway for 1,000 subscribers, and I like posted in one of his videos like congratulations on getting to 1,000, well deserved, you know. And then he ran that bot thing that picked somebody random from the comments, and it picked me. So on you go.
Oh, I didn't realise that. That's hilarious.
It was hilarious. So, like, I said to my wife, like, I never win anything, and I was literally just trying to be nice. You know, like, I was trying to, like, I've tried before a couple of times to help him get a few more people, because he was playing Blood Angels models before, and he puts a lot of work into his videos. So, a couple of times, like, I tried to throw some of my subscribers at. Yeah, I tried to throw some subscribers over Evan's way, and he actually painted one of the models that he did that I did in one of my giveaways maybe like 6 months ago. It was the chapter champion that we gave away on this channel. So because I won, he like messaged me, and I was like, oh dude, you need to pick someone that's like, you know, like you need to pick one of your followers or one of your subscribers. Like, I watch your videos, but I don't watch all of them because, hey, I'm busy making my own YouTube channel. And it's really nice that you chose me, or it's really nice that you were going to honor the fact that I won, but like go pick someone in your own channel that's like one of your biggest advocates or something, or do the draw again, you know, and just if I come up again, like don't have me win. You know, so basically what me and Evan have agreed now is we've sourced like a third-party model, which is going to be painted by Evan, and it's going to make like a really cool thumbnail, and it's going to be given away on my channel. But rather than give it away randomly, what we thought we'd do is, since Evan has this painting channel, we'd make it into like a competition where everybody in the Blood Angels Commander channel can like almost like a Blood Angels on parade. You know how Games Workshop have like their armies on parade thing. I think that's probably where I got it from, because that just came up in my Twitter feed recently. So we'll do our own version on this channel called Blood Angels on Parade. And I actually don't know what the prices are for the official Games Workshop Army on Parade one, but for ours it will be a custom Blood Angels character painted by Evan, and it should be pretty cool.
You're going to get people to send in their army pictures, or
yeah, that's what I thought, and I thought even we could even get you and Tony on as well, and we could basically judge their armies. I guess it'd have to be a bit like eBay, right? So they'd have to like send in a picture of their army with like a bit of paper and their name written on it, so it's not like they could just pick the most glorious army painted on the internet and send it in. Do you know what I mean?
That might make for quite a fun stream as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It could make a fun video, and it would just be Blood Angels on Parade. So I guess what we'd get is we'd just get like a shitload of really awesome Blood Angels models, and then so whoever has the best army on Parade or whatever will win the custom model painted by Evan. Because I really didn't mean to win his giveaway. I just was trying to support him.
I think we'll have to work out some sort of criteria as well for it, what it's going to be judged on.
Maybe it's like Bake Off. I don't know if you watch Bake Off, my wife watches it, but like each judge gets their own, their own score out of 10 or something, and then it gets added up. I don't know.
I think that could be fun, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think it could be a fun video.
Get Origin on there as well.
Yeah, so Gitley just signed up today for the Coventry GT. He's taking place in early November, looking at taking an all melee army, a bit like the one that did well in the US. What's the terrain going to be like at the Coventry GT? Gitley, do you know? Because I think it's not the only reason that he did really well at the US tournament, but I think when you know the terrain, then it's going to be helpful, like it obviously was. Then I guess that can give you a little bit of confidence, or a little bit of head start, something like that, I guess.
Been thinking about the melee army build. I was watching a video the other day, and I'm sorry, I can't remember whose channel it was, and they were talking about the way the scoring works. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of these tournaments, it kind of works where even if you win, there's no point unless you're going to score that full 100 points.
That's not
so maybe
true.
Kind of a win big or lose big kind of list is not.
I mean, the way it worked in, I think.
How did the scoring work at the event you were at the other day, back?
I think with the grand tournament that was just on at London, the way it worked was everybody that went 5-0, so they weren't looking at their points, but everybody that went 5-0 in the like main things got invited to play again on day 3. So obviously, I guess if you had a really high score, you would play against the weakest player that went 5-0. But like, you don't have to go. You don't have to hit 100 VP in every game. You probably need to win every game by more than like 10 VP, or maybe even more than like 20 VP. But you don't have to go. You don't have to get 100. Getting 100, sure. I mean, it does help, but I guess
what was interesting me.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Was the way that your opponent's score didn't matter at all.
Oh, really?
As long as you win, it's only your score that means anything.
Okay, that's not the tournament. See, the tournament I played, it was the differential between the victory points. So for every 5 victory points differential, you would hire.
That seems fairer to me.
Yeah. So if you won by like 5 victory points, you basically got like 11. you won 11-9. If you won by like 10 victory points, you win 12-8, all the way to the point where if you win by 50 victory points, then you win 20-0. And it's a pretty nice system, actually. I liked it. I think it makes it important to, like, if you, in the later turns, it makes it important to, if you know, like, there comes to a point where it's like, well, if I stop him scoring, I'm actually going to win by more if I just keep scoring, if that makes sense. And that can make it pretty interesting. Jack's melee Blood Angels army list
Looking how Gitley said here that so 5 and 0, and then just how many points you've got.
Okay, so points did matter. See, I thought it was just everyone that went 5 and 0, but yeah, okay, so 5 and 0 and points. Yeah, shucks, that would be hard. Yeah, I mean, that's hard for a Space Marine, especially if you want to take like because you can't even get 100 points if you take Retrieve Octarius data, you know.
No, that was the argument against this system, or one of the arguments against the system.
And then it's really hard, I guess.
Restricted in what secondaries you can take to compete.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really hard to get 15 on Oath of Moment or get 15 on Engage in All Fronts. Like, because Engage in All Fronts, you need to be in what, 4 board quarters from the very first turn for the whole game. Like, that is, you know, like, I never managed 15 on all fronts. I get 13 pretty well, like give up 1 turn or something, you know, but like getting 15 is crazy hard on all fronts. I mean, if you want to like consolidate your position on the map, which is usually how I like to play, you know, and then move out quite tactically, you just can't do that and then get 100 points. I guess it doesn't matter when you got those broken admin flyers, you can just throw in every quadrant of the board though, does it? Are Relic Contemptors with dual las cannons still usable? I mean, yeah, they're still usable. Are they good or are they effective now? I'd say no. I have a Relic Contemptor with 2 las cannons fully painted, and it doesn't get fielded anymore. What does get fielded though is Relic Contemptors with 2 Volkite cannons. Because it's about 40 points cheaper, and it's probably going to do more damage. Just because it has that sort of... It's almost guaranteed to do 2 or 3 mortal wounds a turn. So,
it's controversial, but I don't like the dual Volkite Contemptor.
You know, like, I've only run it once, and that was last week on the live game, because I typically always like to run my Dreadnoughts with a melee arm, you know? I think you're the same, right? You like having... Because Blood Angels, yes, it makes sense to have the melee arm, right?
I like being able to throw it into combat if I need to, and it's not the sort of unit I use for holding a home objective or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, but yeah, I mean, when I ran it this week, at one point Andrew was like, oh, don't fire it, I'll just take these models off, and I was like, no, let me fire it, because I'm trying to see how well it does, and yeah, it does really well. You know, like, I don't think I had any particularly good rolls with it, and I just did 3 mortal wounds a turn sort of deal. You know, for a 150 point model and a 45-inch range of just 3 mortal wounds, on top of all its other damage, you know, like mine had Cyclone Missile Launcher and all that nonsense.
I stand by the fact we gave it an S rank because everybody's using them, and everyone still is using them because they are really good.
Yeah, I think so.
I just don't like them.
Yeah, I kind of... For this next tournament, I'm 50-50 whether I'm going to take one or not, but like, if there's going to be a lot of Dakari lists, they're very good against those raiders. They're also very good at just spitting out, like, they're actually, I feel like, against Sisters of Battle, they're very good at killing Sacrosancts because they only have 1 wound, so, you know, like, basically, I've had turns with the Redemptors where, like, I've shot everything at the Sacrosancts and killed, like, 1 or 2 of them. the weight of fire from the Contemptor, just I killed 4 in like turn 1, and then the next turn I think I killed another 4, and this is like 45 inches, which is pretty darn nice, you know. So yeah, I think don't knock them till you've tried them. I didn't really want to run them myself. I don't like running Dreadnoughts with no combat weapon, but like I guess that just proves that Relic Contemptors are too good right now, right? The balance on them is just not good. They're undercosted by about 10 points, I guess.
Yeah, well, they're just sort of making all the other times redundant, aren't they?
Yeah, they're making all those other weapon options on the Contemptor redundant, I guess. And yeah, when you have them as core,
Say something. Possibly came up with a way of killing Sacrosancts, and I hadn't really thought about it because I never use it. But you know, we've got the strat to do mortal wounds when jump pack units jump in.
Yeah, I've used that against the system. I mean, that's good against any toughness 3 army for sure. Yeah. So, like on a big squad of like 8 to 10 or something, you can do 5 mortals pretty reliably. Embrace the Volkite before the nerf, says David.
I haven't tried it yet because I tend to use little squads, but
well, I've used it with like my 8-man Sanguinary Guard, and I've dealt like 3 or 4 mortals. It's certainly not bad. I wouldn't say it's the strongest either, but it's not bad. I mean, it's just a little bit annoying that some of the other armies get more reliable. You know, like Sisters have those Stormbolters that just pretty much always do 6 mortals for 1 CP, you know?
you're gonna start talking about that bloody orc again in a minute.
Oh, my video that's coming out on the channel tomorrow is all about mortal wounds and my distaste for them right now. So don't excuse me, don't watch this video that's coming out tomorrow because it's all about me just complaining about mortal wounds. Well, it's actually about how we dish mortal wounds.
I'm going to change up the drinking game.
Okay.
And now every time you whinge...
No, you won't be sober for very long.
Shot.
I want to touch on
Yeah,
what
it's really a good
Reziel...
thing we didn't record tonight because all this COVID, no beer for me tonight.
Oh. Is this the... How often do you drink beer then? I actually don't know.
We'd like to see a sober Tony. Actually, genuinely, pretty much only when we record.
Oh really? Yeah, I have like I used to have more beer, I guess, like before you weren't able to go anywhere or see anybody. So over the last year and a half, I've had like probably average like 1 alcoholic drink a month or less even. You know, like for example, like there's football
I don't
on.
like it out of a bottle. I much prefer it off of a tap.
Yeah. Scotland have a big international game on Saturday, so like if this was a year ago I would 100% be going to the pub, but I guess with COVID it's like, oh well, I just sit and watch it at home, I guess. Killing these problem units at range is more powerful than fishing for mortals. Mortal wounds are too common in 9th edition. Good evening, Robert. Yeah, I mean, I guess...
I was agreeing with you on that.
Yeah, well, you'll see when I talk about mortals tomorrow. It feels like every new codex has a lot of new ways to deal mortals, and in some ways we're well positioned to deal with it because of Soul Warden. But at the same time, it does feel like maybe they've pushed it a little too far with all the ways that you can dish out mortals. Sorry, I want to touch back on a comment like Reziel made like 10 minutes ago. Let me read it to you. Blood Angels Commander, I'm very curious why you're not wanting to use your last tournament list as is. Do you have thoughts, Tony? I think that list is excellent. Yeah, I mean, I think that list is very, very good, and I think with that list I could have gone 5-0 at that tournament, and I was really only a stone throw away from going 5-0. I had a horrific turn, and like I said, I don't usually like to blame the dice, but I shot my whole army into a raider and didn't kill it. And I guess, like, in terms of contingency for that, if I'd had like a if I'd had like something that could deal 3 mortal wounds at long range, then that raider would 100% dead, and I'd probably win that game. Would it? Am I changing that part of the list though? Is what I don't know, right? Like, because I kind of like the double Redemptor. I've been running it for a while. I think double Redemptor is genuinely pretty strong. It's they're cool models as well, the Redemptors, and we talk about how I like to have a melee weapon on my Dreadnoughts. Well, the Redemptors do just that, and their melee weapon is actually super nasty. And in that list, I have Mighty Heroes as well, so like I can make that Redemptor get an additional attack in close combat, so you can have 7 attacks, which is also pretty nice, right? So yeah, I guess.
I mean, there's 2 schools of thought really on whether do you change your list now you've not won a tournament, or do you keep running it till you get better and better and better? I mean, I tend to change my list after every tournament.
See, so.
But that's mostly because I get bored of it.
Well, I'm certainly not bored. I like winning. And I like winning against all these meta armies, which is what I did for like 3 of the games. You know, I won against... I can't tell you how like, when I knew that the very first... So my first tournament game in friggin' like coming... So I found some old screenshots today. I came back to the hobby in like May... I think it was like May 2018. So I've been back in the hobby now about 3.5 years, because I found like my painting table when I was like stripping my old models to basically start over, because I was like 13-year-old John can't paint for shit, and I need to redo all these models. So my first tournament game after coming back was actually against the captain of Team Scotland, and I mean, so this is literally probably the best player in the whole of Scotland, and I think it was like 91-60, and he was playing Thousand Suns. I was like so happy, you have no idea. Because it was a team tournament, Andrew like came over to me in like the middle of the game, because there was like a little bit of, you know, like all of our team were on one side of the table, all their teams on the other side of the table, and it's like 3 games in a row. So Andrew came over and he's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing fucking great, Andrew. I'm gonna win this game," you know? And he sort of looked at me like, "Really?" I was like, yeah, I got this, you know? Yeah, like, so I did like the list, and I like it a lot. I think the thing, anyone know how to sell a kidney? I don't have enough for all the new Templar stuff, says Robert. Yeah. The problem I have is, or the problem I had with
there is an argument for not changing it and keep playing it all the time, isn't there?
Yeah, there certainly is. But the weakness I think I identified in my list was I can't open Drukhari Raiders effectively. And in both games I had against Drukhari, in turn 1 I didn't manage to open a Raider. I guess what I mean by open a Raider is just destroy one, right? None of my weaponry is optimized to kill Raiders. I have my plasmas, but like, if you think about the plasmas, what you get 3 shots with the plasmas on average. So between the 2 of them, let's say you get 7 shots. So 7 shots, I'm usually hitting on 3s, and maybe I've got +1 to hit, or maybe I've got rerolls. So you end up with about 5 hits. You wound on 3s, so you end up with about 3 wounds. He saves with those raiders on a 5-up invulnerable save, so he's gonna save maybe one of them. So the plasmas on the Redemptors do 6 damage. The plasmas on the Redemptors do 6 damage to Raider, and then I literally threw the kitchen sink at the Raider that I didn't kill. Like, I threw onslaught cannons at it, I threw rocket pods, I threw the Tech Marines Forge Bolter. I actually had the whole Sanguinary Guard in range as well, so they rapid fired, or I guess not rapid fire because the guns are assault, but they did the 2 shots from their bolters. Like, I shot everything into this Raider and left it on 1 wound. And I think I probably smited it as well, to be fair. Maybe smite didn't go off. But like, so that was the first weakness that I saw, was like, alright, if I play against Drukhari and he's got 6 Raiders, I need to pop, like, you need to pop the Raiders in the shooting phase, because if you don't pop them in the shooting phase, then he's going to spill 10 obsec units out and it's going to kill you on primaries, right? And that's what happened in the second game. In the first game, I got a little bit lucky, maybe because the enemy was naive and he let me kill him off an objective, right? So like I managed to stop him scoring primaries, and I actually shut down his Grimy Down. But in the second game, the guy didn't pick Grimy Down, he picked some Drukhari secondary I'm not really familiar with, and that combined with the fact that I didn't open the Raider in turn 1 meant that like I lost primary points and basically lost the game. If I'd opened up the Raider, maybe I won the game, right? I actually think it would have been a pretty big swing. It would have been a 15 victory point swing if I killed that Raider, and then I wouldn't have lost a ton of stuff, right? Because he was able to pile all these witches and shit out of the Raider and then like smash into like my Sanguinary Guard and my Captain and all this and do a ton of damage, whereas if I'd been the one charging, that wouldn't have happened, right? So that was the first thing that I thought.
I think it's an argument for Steel Rain always talks about Death Company Dreadnoughts.
Death Company Dreadnoughts to be used.
I don't see how you can chase the damn thing down and kill it with a Dreadnought.
Well, no, I mean the Raiders move like 30 inches or something, don't they? It felt like when they were moving them, they could basically almost come from their deployment zone to your deployment zone in a turn. I mean, a Death Company Dreadnought would be nice, don't get me wrong, and I think there's a use for it. I just don't know if it's... I suppose maybe they're not going to charge the Death Company Dreadnought, but then they would just charge something else that they think they can kill, right?
Well, they're so quick, they can just go around it.
The Raiders can pop -1 to hit as well. Yeah, I think one of them used that against me. Yeah, the top players play the same lists a lot. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure that my list is a top list yet, so that's why. The other thing that I definitely identified was that my unit of Vanguard veterans are nice. Lightning Claws are nice, but if I want to run them onto a flank by themselves, they aren't survivable. And against Drukhari, they're really not survivable either, because the thing I noticed against Drukhari as well is all their melee combat is coming in for like 2 damage -2, right? So basically the Storm Shields almost don't give me any bonus, because like I'm still, their -2 is putting me on that 4-up in Fun anyway, right? If that makes sense. So like I'm just losing, and every failed save is a dead model. So like my Vanguard veterans in both games against the Drukhari just got toasted. Like they didn't last at all. I think actually my Sanguinary Guard in both games against the Drukhari didn't really survive at all either. Like witches and incubi, these things are great at killing 2-wound marines, like just really great at it. So my thought was, if I'm gonna have a unit that's gonna go off on one side of the board by themselves and just try and sit on an objective and try and be a fighty unit, then it could either be assault terminators or it could be terminators with bolt guns. Either or, because essentially against Drukhari and some other stuff that does a lot of 2 damage. Feels like there's a lot of 2 damage coming out. Like Death Guard, for example, with those fletted boat drones. I've seen those fletted boat drones like mow down a whole squad of my guys in a single turn. Like they get 12 attacks. I forget the strength on the bloat drones, but I think it's like strength 7, and because they have contagion, you're on like toughness 3, so they wound you on 2s and they reroll their 1s because they're plagued weapons. So like 120 point fetid bloat drone can kill like a whole squad of, could probably kill a whole squad of 10 Vanguard veterans with a little bit of luck. Like they're kind of nuts, right? It's not easy to kill bloat drones either, because they're toughness 7 with like 9 wounds.
Yeah, Reziel's just said here that another point of view, your units don't need to survive any longer than it takes you to outscore your opponent and win.
True.
And I agree with that, actually. I'm thinking about dropping the Vanguard veterans and bringing back my Death Company.
I thing, I just don't like that Death Company can't perform actions. That's my big issue with them. If they could perform actions, I might be swaying by them, but action, I always feel like I've got actions to perform in ninth. Be it raise a banner, be it Octavius Data, it does feel to me like actions are kind of important. Yeah, meltas aren't effective against raiders as well. I mean, the thing that's going to be most effective against raiders is probably actually autocannons. That's why I tried suppressors a couple of weeks back, because autocannons are strength 7, so you're going to wound on the same 3s you would wound with the plasmas, and then the -1 straight away puts them on their 5 up, because raiders normally have a 4 up, so the -1 is the best you can do against them. So autocannons against raiders, like a squad of suppressors is going to get 9 shots, what, hitting on 3s, so that's 6 hits, what, wounding on 3s, that's 4 wounds. So they have to take 4 or 5 up saves. So like, on paper, suppressors are actually really good against raiders, right?
You know what's also not shit against raiders?
Tell
Predators.
If I won a tournament with a fucking
I said it in that video,
list,
they are surprisingly good. When I say good, what I mean is not absolute shit.
Good evening, Scott. How you doing? Death Company fare better versus 2 damage for sure. Yeah, I mean that's true. Death Company at least would shrug a little bit at the 2 damage, so you would get a bit of an advantage from the shrug. I tend to not I mean, I guess you could pay the CP to make the shrug better. I don't like shrugs on 6s. I think they're unreliable. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could pay your 2 CP, or however many CP it is, I forget, for... What's that one? Refusal to die on the Death Company. I think it's 1 CP for under 5, 2 CP for over 5, isn't it? But yeah, it's a I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of backed into a corner. Suppressors are Mevies raiders and apparently crap into everything else. I feel like I'm a little bit backed into a corner, because if they don't nerf those orc buggies, Andrew is bringing that list with 17 buggies to this tournament, and I'll tell you right now, my marine list has no chance against those 17 buggies. My normal list will just capitulate in like 1 or 2 turns. The indirect fire from them is, in my opinion, is broken. It's way overpowered. Like those buggies are like half the point, or like not half. Let's say they're like 2/3 the points of a whirlwind, and they hit like 5 times harder. It's ridiculous.
He does love to spam things, doesn't he, Andrew? Remember that stupid multi-melter list that he had?
Yeah, he had the list that had 40 multi-melters or something like that. Yeah, he loves to spam, and he loves to chase the meta, but honestly, it's just a little bit of annoying playing against him, because it's like, you kind of know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get like broken, overpowered cheese when you play. But I mean, for the most part, I do beat Andrew, you know. So it's like, I kind of know what to expect and know how to beat him. But he does love his cheese. Andrew does.
Maybe he loses because of exactly what Reziel was saying. He never plays the same army long enough to get any good at it.
Yeah, I mean, saying that though, at the tournament, the game that we beat Team Scotland, he won the game. So I beat the captain of Team Scotland, he beat someone else, and then Colin lost, but we ended up coming away with... We actually won on victory points, but it wasn't enough of a win to get the... It wasn't enough to get the win, it ended in a draw. What do you think about paying CP for a multi-melt up? Or on a repulsor or impulsor? How... That doesn't make sense. Paying CP for a multi-melt on a repulsor... You pay 25 points if you want to put a multi-melt on a repulsor. I don't know how you put one on an impulsor.
Maybe he means reroll to hit or something.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. Clarify for me, Robert. Oh, Black Templars can play CP for one? Hey, Jerked. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Appreciate that. I'm not sure we've spoken before, Jarek, but make sure you go into Discord, go into settings, link your YouTube account to your Discord, and then you can join us in the admin only room. Or not the admin only room, sorry, the members only room. It's been a long day for me, apparently. Yeah, that's a...
I'm not sure it's worth 1 CP, to be honest, Robert.
Thing is, impulsors and...
You probably only fire it once.
I was going to say, repulsors aren't really a great unit, in my opinion. Like, didn't we rate them, like, pretty low in the tier list? How about Aderodeo with
we put them right in the bin.
The Volkites? I think if you're going to go for the Volkite option, I'd probably go for the Contemptor. The Derodeo is quite expensive, and I feel like you're more likely to get mortal wounds out of the Contemptor. Ever consider a diorama project? So what scene or moments the models would you use to depict? Do you know what? I haven't considered a diorama, but I am considering making a new channel trailer video, which I probably need to make because it's been a long time since we did the last channel trailer. And when I do that, I will get all my painted models out together on the table or something, and I'll try and take some really nice photos and have like a really cool video. But you weren't here earlier. We're gonna do a Blood Angels on. We're gonna do a sort of a painting competition on the channel. I don't quite know when, but it's definitely coming, and there will be a prize painted by my friend Evan over on Origin Painting, so keep an eye out for that, because the last model Evan painted for me was gorgeous, and we gave it away to channel member, I don't know, it was probably 6 months ago. It's been a little while since we did a giveaway. So we'll have another gorgeous model. Yeah, I know, each is 2 wound, but you only get 6 shots with that, Martin, right? The Contemptor is like quite a lot of points left, and you get 16 shots, and each one is just 1 mortal, but I just feel like the weight of fire is going to be better, in my opinion. Like, I would rather have 16 dice with mortals on 6s than 6 dice with 2 mortals on 6s. I feel like you throw enough dice where you're going to get some 6s, where you could easily throw 5, you could easily throw the 6 dice and get no 6s. So I just think it's, to me, it feels more reliable on the Contemptor.
Steve, I'm a big fan of that Leviathan with the Volkites as well.
Yeah, I guess the Volkites and the Leviathan are pretty nice on the 30 inches. How do you arm the other 2? A drill or something, or what do you normally take?
For me, it's Grav and Drill. It's a bit of a classic one.
Yeah, I do like the Grav because the Grav is basically the same plasma the Redemptor has, but just with built-in sort of reliability, because it's 2d3 rather than 1d6, you know? 2d3 just, again, feels a lot more reliable than a d6.
It's short range is the only problem with that, but then I tend to march out the middle anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you have a Leviathan Dreadnought, you're not trying to stay 24, especially when you've got a Leviathan in a drill and you're Blood Angels. You want, if anything, you want to be within 2 inches, not 24 inches. But yeah, so yeah, I guess to come back to what you said, Reziel, I want to keep the core of the list the same. So the 2 units that I want to drop, well, I'm gonna drop the Chaplain 100%, and I like the Chaplain on a bike, but he's costing me a CP to include him. Because we've been giving him the Warlord trait. What Warlord trait were we giving him? Iron Resolve, and also he makes it easy for the enemy to pick Assassinate against me because I have 4 characters. So by dropping the Chaplain, and I felt like the Chaplain was I got the least value out of the Chaplain. Because I don't have the CP to run him as a wise orator, then his litanies are only going off on 3s, and I already talked a lot about how like I don't think litanies on 3s are reliable. And like they're certainly not. You know, over the course of a game, if you cast your litanies on 3s, you need to expect like 2 or 3 fails. So my Chaplain did fail like litanies probably at important points. So I think like lose the Chaplain. It's 150 points I can spend on, well, that's why I tried suppressors. And then I also tried eliminators with the las fusils. And then the Vanguard Veterans are the one other squad that... The Vanguard Veterans just died a lot for me. And I like Vanguard Veterans, I like the speed they are, but I think maybe... This might be a little bit like when we talked about Death Company 6 months ago and said like, Death Company work best when they're a 10-man. Vanguard Veterans probably work best when they're a larger squad, and my list only had room for a 6-man squad, and the 6-man squad generally didn't... I wasn't able to just place them on an objective and be like, there's my Vanguard Vets and they're going to be survivable and they're going to sit there. No, it didn't really work for me. There's so much 2 damage stuff coming out that like against... In a few of the battles, they got wiped out pretty fast, it felt like.
I'm surprised you're dropping that Chaplain, but how's the Tech Marine working out for you?
Well, the Tech Marine is now running Soul Warden, right? And the Tech Marine is in the middle of the board with the Blade Guard Veterans and the Dreadnoughts and maybe like the Librarian with Null Zone. So the Tech Marine's pretty protected, and he's giving that great shrug of mortals to like a huge amount of my, like half my forces with him, or like all my fire support I guess is with him. So like just makes all my fire support a bit stronger against mortal wounds. And this is kind of what I'm covering in tomorrow's tactics video about like, I think that Soul Warden is probably, as the meta continues and as more and more mortal wounds come into the meta, some sort of backfield character, if you're going to run a couple of Dreadnoughts like I am, if you have a backfield character that can run Soul Warden, I actually put like a lot of value on that now.
I still think people are sleeping on him because he can do a lot of damage on the charge.
Do you know what I've played that Tech Marine now in like 5 or 6 games, and I think he's a little bit like the Librarian Dreadnought, right? Like the big problem with the Librarian Dreadnought for me is his weapon skill 3, right? Like, so like because his weapon skill 3, you can actually just have turns where he whiffs everything. And I've had the Primaris Chaplain, I've had the Primaris Tech Marine go both ways. Right, like I've had turns where he's charged in, he's made all 8 attacks, and he's just like wrecked. And then I've had other turns where he's charged in, he's made like 2 of his 8 attacks and then failed to wound. So I guess he's not a reliable close combat character, but he can also be very good in close combat. You just have to remember he's not reliable because his WS is 3, I guess.
Well, he's only 80 points as well, and that's what really I think is the killer for it.
Yeah, I mean for 80 points he's very good, and he's a good option to give Soul Warden. I think he's also a very good option to give Quake Bolts, because he can move 6 in Quake Bolts with his 24-inch bolter, and if you need to advance, he can also do that in Quake Bolts, and he's still on a weapon skill of 3 because he's normally ballistic skill of 3 because he's normally ballistic skill 2. So yeah, I think I like to make my Chaplain. I like to make my Tech Marine Master of the Forge as well, you know, so you can get those flat 3 heals every turn as well. I think he's a great character actually. I wasn't so sure about moving. Like originally I was like, but I like the Sangori Priest. The Sangori Priest feels like he should fit really well with Blood Angels. And it was Andrew actually that told me, he was like, you know, we make fun of Andrew and his tactics, but it was Andrew was like, I feel like you're getting more value out of that Tech Marine with the Mortal Wound bubble. And I was like, really? And it was like, yeah, that's what you should run to the tournament, because I was in two minds. I didn't know if I was going to take the Tech Marine or the Sangori Priest to the tournament, but it was Andrew that kind of made that decision for me. And yeah, I mean, big props to Andrew. It was 100% the right decision. I really like the Tech Marine now.
I told you it was better than the Sanguinary Priest.
You did. I didn't believe you. You did. Do you know what? This is actually a really fun model to paint. I think this is the only model I bought in the last 6 months too, because I was trying not to buy models to try and like get through my backlog. But yeah, this is a fun model to paint, I think. I like how he's got like a robotic arm, and also it's cool you can shoot his pistol as well. So if you ever get within 12 inches of the enemy, you can shoot both his forge bolt and his pistol. His pistol's not bad, you know. It can do is it 3 damage or 2 damage? I don't remember. I think if it's the save is better than a 3-up, it does 2 damage.
I think I might have ruffled some feathers with that comment.
The Primarch Tech Marine is good value. Yeah, okay, some people don't agree. Yeah, I mean, the Priest, it's I loved the Priest when he was 135 points. I actually don't think the Priest has got any weaker going up to 20 points. I think people know how to play against the Priest now is the only difference. People before would often leave, like, you know, people would shoot 2 or 3 different squads and you'd always have one model alive, and then you can get like great value out of the Priest getting those like double heal and the double heal and the res off. That doesn't happen anymore. If people are fighting against Blood Angels and they see 3 attack bikes, they'll just keep shooting and the attack bikes till all 3 are dead, and you're like, shit, now we don't get to res anything, you know? I feel like that's kind of what's happened with the Priest. Or yeah, maybe if you take him to an event or something.
I never really got any more value out of him.
How do you mean?
Than the normal apothecary, apart from the mobility.
I like the Blood Chalice. I genuinely like the Blood Chalice. I think that's a great ability that he has. One of the biggest problems I think with Blood Angels right now is we are weak in turn 1 and 2. You know, like if we charge people in turn 1 and 2, we don't kill them like we need to kill them. And I guess this is why I sit a lot of times, you know, a lot of battles on the channel, I'll sit the Sanguinary Guard and you won't even see the Sanguinary Guard. I think in one of the games against Andrew's sisters, my Sanguinary Guard literally hid in a building till turn 4. Like, just because in the early game, like, I just don't want to lose them when you charge them in and they don't kill the target, you know?
I've started keeping them off the table until sort of I bring them on normally turn 2.
Makes sense. You get the additional -1 on their AP.
And then don't go for the charge from Deep Strike.
Yeah. The charge from Deep Strike is always a risk, isn't it? Even if you want to take like litanies and stuff to make that easier, it's still always a risk.
In 8th I used to do it all the time, but 9th is too unreliable. I'd rather drop them in, look for position, and then charge in turn 3.
Yeah, Atlas is saying why not take a chaplain with a litany and then you can pay the 2 CP and make it auto cast. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I play against armies that don't do mortal wounds, but it feels like more and more. Actually, pretty much every army I'm playing against now actually is doing mortal wounds. Like every army, but I actually don't mind paying 1 CP for Hero of the Chapter, and then giving the Tech Marine. If you give him Soul Warden and there's no enemy Psyker, or there's no way for the enemies to do mortal wounds, I don't think it's that big a loss. I think at a tournament though, you just have to be prepared. Like, if you're going to a tournament, you are going to run into enemies that have mortal wound capabilities, and my lists are always what we call take all corners lists, right? Like, so I'm not building a list to fight a single faction. I'm trying to build a list that can fight any faction. And yeah, I mean, maybe it's the wrong call to swap out the chaplain and the Vanguard vets, but I mean, I haven't lost since I made the swap. And if I look back at those games that I lost at the tournament, could I have done better with these new options? Maybe. Maybe not. But I think that, like, I genuinely don't have a problem with Terminators. I think if you don't take a Teleport Homer with Terminators, then I have a problem with them. But I think the Teleport Homer gives them that mobility that you want. And let's say I deploy the Terminators on the flank, right? And like, so what was happening was I was deploying my Vanguard veterans on the flank and they're getting killed before, because there's only 6 2-wound guys, right? It doesn't take that much to chew through them, especially if you've got like 20 odd attacks coming out from like incubi and they're all -2. I suppose the difference with the Terminators, if one single Terminator lives, then you can instantly just pick them off the board and be like, right, now, alright, so we kind of lost that flank, which I did anyway with the Vanguard vets. Like, if it was Vanguard vets, they'd be dead anyway. And then you could just, that Terminator could become like a scoring unit for engaging all fronts, or he could come back on an objective or anything, right?
I quite like Terminators. I think they're a little bit undervalued.
Well, I think that my thought about
the
it
relic
was,
ones look particularly nice.
Yeah, the problem with the relics is you don't get the teleport homer though, right? So like, and the thing with Terminators is you can definitely get stuck on one side of the map and they're so fucking slow, they're just stuck there. Because 5-inch movement, unless you're going to CP your advance rolls, which, let's face it, you don't ever want to be wasting CP on advance rolls. They can just be stuck on one side of the map. So the thing that I was fighting against, the thing that was killing my Vanguard veterans in both the games against Dukari was like incubi, which are hitting me with -2 AP, and they're 2 damage a pop, right? So -2 AP, if it's a Terminator, he's getting the same 4-up save as a Vanguard veteran. The difference is that they need to kill, they need two wounds to go through to kill a model as opposed to 1. So when I'm losing my whole squad, if it is Terminators, I still have 2 guys left, you know? So I'm getting to fight back, whereas like I wasn't getting to fight back. And I don't know if Terminators work in everybody's list, but I think they kind of work in mine. My other thought was to just ditch the Terminators and just do 2 squads of Sangre Guard. You know, if the Vanguard veterans are dying anyway, then why not just have another squad of Sangard, because, you know, they do a lot of damage, right? I haven't run 2 squads of Sangard probably since I sort of started down this path of like building this balanced list of stuff, you know, like when I was struggling to get wins, when I was doing all melee lists, and I started down this path of like, hey, I'm going to build a more balanced force because I think that will help me. That's probably the last time I ran 2 squads of Sangre Guard, so it's probably like over a year, maybe even a year and a half now.
I don't think I've done it in 9th. In 8th, I did the 3 units of Sanguinary Guard led by a Sanguinary Ancient.
Yeah, I did that in 8th.
Sanguinal.
Yeah, and I take it you had like a 10-man death company in 8th as well, did you?
Yeah, of course. 15.
15, okay. I had 10 plus Le Martes, and I usually thought that was pretty good. I mean, I think I used to run lists with like 5 or 6 characters in 8th. Like, I think I had lists that had like... Yeah, because I had a Sanguinary Priest that went with my Sangard, and I also had a Sanguinary Priest that went with the Death Company. I had Lamartis with the Death Company, I had the Sanguinar with the Sangard, I had Astrath on the board as well, and then I had Sanguinary Ancient. Yeah, so I was running 6 characters in 8th.
But that was the time of more force organisation charts the better, though, as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you run 20 scouts in every battle to get more CP. I don't miss that though, I'll tell you.
No, I fucking hate those models.
Yeah, but every Space Marine list, it was like, oh, what have you got? 6 squads of scouts. Excuse me.
Dr. Akulushka is asking about the Wrath of Baal and Sanguinary Ancients.
I see that.
The Wrath of Baal is great. The problem is the Sanguinary Ancient that it hangs off of.
He is more cost effective than he was at 125
I mean, he's
points.
the best ancient.
He is the best ancient, yeah. And at 125 points, he was overcosted. At 110, he's possibly still a little bit overcosted, but he's usable now, I guess, right? The Wrath of Baal is great.
He's a 110 point model plus a CP to give him the Wrath of Baal.
Well, you know, Jack Harper is using the Wrath of Baal very effectively. So I think you can make it work if you're committed to running a bunch of jump pack units, and that's how you want to play your list. Then, if you're gonna go an all jump pack unit list, and you're gonna try and hide your guys behind terrain, and then you're gonna try and surprise the enemy, etc., etc. Then yeah, I mean, Wrath of Baal is kind of the best option for that, right?
It goes back to the what we were talking about earlier with the idea of win big, lose big, kind of all melee armies.
Yeah, true. It's not something that I enjoy, all melee in 9th edition. I have a couple of fans of the channel actually have sent me...
I like big guns and I cannot lie.
Yeah, a couple of fans of the channel, one of the guys that actually gives super chats now and then, Emperor's Son, like, sent me like his, basically like what he's playing on, and it's like some people are playing the all melee army and like they're generally quite, I wouldn't say they're struggling with it, it's more that I mean, they are struggling with it, but it's not the player, it's the army, I think. The army is very hard to run. You really need to have a lot of terrain cover to help you. And yeah, I mean, I don't even run that. Like, I tried running it, and like my win rate was like 50%, and I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm not a 50% player. Like, I feel like my win rate should be like 60, 70, 80. And yeah, on the all melee army, it was just 50%, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna keep doing this. I don't think it's strong. But I mean, it was certainly strong at that GW tournament with all the obscuring terrain. But like when before we were using those map packs that we use on the channel now for the games, we were probably using like a little bit less terrain than that. So there's huge swaths of the board that have no obscuring terrain on it. So like, if you're gonna run a whole melee army, and let's say like one board quarter has like one ruins piece in it, you're gonna have a bad day, right? You're just gonna get shot in the open, and there's Wrath of Baal want to help you with that.
You were playing on Planet Bowling Ball at one point.
Yeah, pretty much. Assault Terminators
really doesn't like your Terminators, John.
No one is running, like, no one, a lot of people, some people are running Assault Terminators, no one is running Terminators with Storm Bolters. Like, maybe I'm onto a thing here, and I'm seeing it, maybe I'm ahead of the trend. Maybe in 6 months' time you'll see everybody with Terminators with Storm Bolters. The fucking Storm Bolters ripped Andrew apart this week. Did you see the game this week?
Yeah, I did. I had to watch it a bit later. I couldn't watch it live, but it was. I like them. I ran 3 squads and 3 Vindicators in a tournament at the beginning of the year.
And how did that do for you?
It was surprisingly well, but it was I think mostly because nobody knew what to do with it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Nobody knows how to fight against Stormbolter Terminators. They're like, what the fuck is this? No one's running them. I just want something that I can put on an objective and turn to and sort of just ignore, and if the enemy want to charge it, then that's fine. And yeah, I think the difference with I don't know. We'll see. What I was saying though was like, Andrew, if Andrew's going to run that buggies
I think
list,
sometimes we get hung up on the idea.
On you go.
Other people have got better versions of like Terminators and etc. than we do.
Yeah, I mean that's fair to say. The 1,000.
But it doesn't make ours any worse. It's the same with our shooting.
Yeah, you know, you probably make a good point. You know, like just every week I get someone come into my channel and tell me this. There was a comment just last night or something that just said like, "You suck." It was like one line. It was like 5 words. It was like, "But you know you suck, right?" or something. And I was like, "Why? Because I don't run the whole melee army, or
maybe you were doing something that you sucked at."
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I think there is sort of that perception that like, because, for example, Scarab Occult Terminators are amazing right now. You know, they're super strong. They can -1 damage. They have all this dust. They're OBSEC. They don't have to take morale tests. Yada yada yada. We could go on, I'm sure. But it doesn't necessarily mean like our Terminators are totally crap. They're just not as good as those ones, but maybe we can make up with it in other places of our lists. And
I think that's something we have to bear in mind, that, you know, people always say our shooting is crap. Well, it's not crap. Our shooting's pretty good. It's just not as good as some other people's.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why I did so well in my tournament, because people saw a shooting Blood Angels list. They were like, I don't know how to play against this, or I didn't, you know, I don't expect guns on Blood Angels characters or whatever, and like you can certainly try and justify the Terminators. I would just bet strongly the reality of their usefulness isn't there. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I've designed my list with like a distinct strategy, right? So like I'm gonna kind of consolidate down on the map, and I think I've been doing that pretty effectively, and I think I did that in the tournament pretty effectively. In most of the games I outscored primaries, or I scored very highly on primaries. And I want a distraction unit on one of the flanks, and like it literally is a distraction unit. Like, it's there to make them have to react to that flank, and I don't know. We'll see, I guess, is the answer. But yeah, the thing I was saying was, so Andrew's going to run 17...
here's a bit of a spoiler. Our podcast...
Oh yeah, on you go.
Yeah, Mark was talking about building a list to make sure that you are scoring points over everything else. Yeah,
I mean, maybe, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to score points. I don't need the Terminators to kill anything. They just need to go onto an objective and just be difficult for the enemy to kill. That's precisely what they want to do, I guess. I mean, in an ideal world, sure, they would have OBSEC and stuff, but Terminators don't have that. So they do have 5 chain fists with Blood Angels, and I mean, 5 chain fists. If anyone does want to come and fight them, that'd be pretty good. I mean, I guess here's the question, though, right? And it's probably a pretty important question, and yeah, I see you talking about it in the chat. If I had 5 more Blade Guard, would I just run a second 5-man Blade Guard and go and do what I'm doing? 5 Blade Guard go to the center, and 5 Blade Guard go down one of the flanks to be a distraction. I mean, when you compare 5 Terminators to 5 Blade Guard, like, really, what is the difference? The Blade Guard have 1 better on their invulnerable save, and they move 1 more inch, but they have no guns, and those Terminators actually do a lot of anti-chaff firepower, like quite a lot actually. You know, 20 shots at 24 inches every
They
turn.
lose that teleport homer as well, don't they?
You could argue the Blade Guard make that up because they can move a little bit faster, you know? 6-inch move doesn't feel nearly... For some reason, that 1 inch between 6 and 5 actually feels kind of huge on the table. It's one of those weird things, you know? Where it's like, I don't feel my Blade Guard veterans are slow when they move 6, but I feel my Terminators are slow as fuck and they move 5. But yeah, so if I had, would you recommend...
saying about transhuman as well. Yeah, they do. They are good.
Yeah, I like the fact that you've got transhuman on the Blade Guards, and yeah, I mean, in some ways you could argue they're better, but then I guess the question is, if I'm transhuming the squad in the middle, I'm not going to be able to transhuman the other squad on the left, right? So having 2 Blade Guard with the idea about the transhuman doesn't always work out. I mean, I don't have 5 more Blade Guard. I have 3 more. I'm considering spending my £10 voucher with Games Workshop actually on more Blade Guard, so I have 10. I'm not sure what I'm going to spend that £10 on.
I rate that teleport deep strike from the Terminators quite highly as well.
Well, it scored me 3 points this week when I teleport deep strike and then came in and smited his character, right? The end of the game, the map opens up a little bit. You can just bring them in where you need them and kill something. We're talking about Terminators with Stormbolters and if are they any good, basically, left-handed texting. Because I was thinking of putting some into my list. And, well, I've been running them now for like 3 weeks. I haven't lost a game with them yet. I probably need to learn a little bit more how to play them because they are very slow. And I actually, saying that, in one of the games I deployed them on the flank. I think it was the game against the Necrons, and I'm pretty sure it was you, Reziol, which were like, oh, you deployed the super slow Terminators on the flank. You were like, bold strategy, Cotton, let's see if it plays off, which is the old Dodge... What the fuck was the name of that movie? Dodgeball? Was that the name of the movie?
Love that film.
Was it called Dodgeball, yeah?
If you can dodge a traffic, you can dodge a ball. Yeah, it was dodgeable.
Yeah, I've not seen that movie in ages, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, bold strategy, sure, but like they just wanted to go over and sit on that objective and fight anything that came onto the objective, and I mean, it worked in that game. Mobility usually helps. Mobility is usually king for Blood Angels. I agree with that. I just think I've got enough mobility elsewhere that we can afford to give up a little bit of mobility. I guess we will decide. You did say that, yeah. Here's the... Alright, so my main problem, though, is would 10-man Reaver squad be worth it? As a friend has just given them to me, and I don't really know how they work. Right, so please don't judge me on this, but what you do is you take your 10 Reavers, and what you do is you get, like, these, you know, like clippers, you clip off all their heads, and you either put those heads on eBay, because they sell for about 4 times the price of the box of Reavers, or you put those heads on your other models and make them look cool, and then I guess you throw the Reavers' bodies in the bin, because that's about all they're good for. Yeah, Reavers are... Oh, they're such a cool looking...
Primaris scale death company.
Yeah, they do, and they look so cool. The problem is they're just terrible. I don't know why they're terrible. Someone said turn them into incursors. That would be a cool idea. Paint them as Death Company. Make them into a Primaris Death Company. They have no AP on their weapon, which is their big problem.
And close combat weapons in them.
Yeah, they just have no AP on their weapon. So I would try probably take off the arm that's got the knife.
The fact that they're elites is the main reason they're shit.
Yeah, take off the arm that's got the knife and put a chainsword arm on there. And then you're rocking. And I actually painted my Reavers Death Company, and I think they look so cool. They just don't do any damage. They have some quirky thing where they can like deny obsec. I forget exactly how it works.
This Lamenters.
Oh, did you? Oh, cool.
Because, you know, Lamenters always get the shit, so I thought, well...
They've got bolters. Yeah, the bolter is the one thing that's actually okay, but the problem is there's no way to fire. You get 5 shots from them. So you get 5 pistol shots. Typically, if we have 5 pistol shots, let's face it, pistols hit on 3s, so you make about 3 hits. You're probably going to wound on 4s because pistols are strength 4, maybe worse. So you end up with 1 or 2 wounds. So the enemy has to take 1 or 2 saves. So best case, your Reavers do 2 wounds to an enemy. That's it. That's all they can do. In close combat, they have no AP, so they're just kind of trash in close combat. When they first came out, I bought 10 of them. I try to make them work. I love how the models look. They just aren't good. This edition, they actually gave their pistol like 1 more AP. If they gave their weapon an AP rather than a pistol, like their knives had some AP, then I think they could have been useful. But like, for whatever reason, Games Workshop have made those a very, very, like, no one uses Reavers. Like I can't remember the last time we looked at a list that had Reavers in it. And they're actually kind of cheap in terms of points, but yeah, no one uses them. So they're just in a tough spot right now, Reavers. I don't
Sorry, Legion, I feel like we've just pissed in your cornflakes a little bit there.
Yeah, sorry. But you could do cool things with them. I mean, their heads are really cool. You could take their heads off and give them to other models and then replace their heads with standard Primaris heads or something and give yourself 2 squads. Yeah, so the thing I was going to say though is, right, so this next tournament, Andrew's going to bring that buggy list. If the buggies don't get nerfed, Andrew is bringing 17 Ort buggies, and I don't think I can beat 17 Ort buggies without tailoring a little bit to be able to play against his list. So if that's the case, then I feel like I'm going to have to bring the Falchion. And I really don't want to have to bring the Falchion. I want to bring my current list, but like, it just gets absolutely destroyed by that buggy list. Like, those buggies are so broken, man. I don't understand what Games Workshop are thinking with those buggies. Like, the fact that they can just kill anything from obscuring position 36 inches away is like, it's just ridiculous. What's your opinion on the buggies, Tony?
I really want to hate them because they are totally broken, but they're such a cool visual image.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I don't mind how they look.
You know, speed freak orcs are suddenly good again.
Yeah, I mean, they're broken good, I guess. Like, I don't mind how they look. Like, it's cool to have cool models and stuff like that. It's just stupid to have a...
You can borrow my Thunderhawk if you want.
Probably just gonna have to take the Falchion. I know I can beat him with the Falchion because it kills 3 buggies every turn, and he can't kill it. Like, his buggies, the buggies are insanely good against toughness 4 enemies, but like against toughness 8, you just can't kill it. So I mean, if he last time he played it, he tried to ignore the Falchion. And I said to him, you either have to kill it or ignore it, but ignore it at your peril because yeah, the other option is I could just take my list that I've been enjoying, and if I come up against Andrew's stupid buggy list, I lose the game, and hopefully someone else plays his buggy list and beats it. You know, there'll be enough people at the tournament where I might not get paired against Andrew. Probably if I take my normal list, though, I will end up just getting paired against him and have to lose to the stupid buggies.
At the same time, your chances are you're going to end up fighting a lot of Jakari and Admech as well.
Yeah. See, I think my list
an
will do a
buggy list is going to be shit against Jakari or Admech.
Yeah, in some ways it will be. The thing is, the Falchion's
like one loss compared to multiple losses.
Yeah, the Falchion's pretty versatile, honestly, though. I think the only thing it doesn't do well against is Horde armies, I guess.
Rate that. I can't even remember now. Did we put it as a B tier or something?
We did put it as a B, yeah. I think we put it as a B because it's difficult to maneuver, probably because it's so big, and it doesn't have an invulnerable save, so that's its other weakness. But I also think it's very difficult for the enemy to kill it in turn 1. So if you've got a Tech Marine on the board, you're always going to get at least a few turns out of it, and then you can Psychic Fortress it or something and get back into the game. We'll see.
You know what you could do? Double Tech Marine it.
I honestly would just support you taking the Falchion to the tournament. What is a good vehicle to Tech Marine ratio for Blood Angels? Well, my list, I run 3 vehicles, 2 Dreadnoughts and a Whirlwind, but I mean the Tech Marine is just there, like he's never near the Whirlwind. You got Bolt Interceptors for Hordes, lol. I have actually built a list that has the Falchion, a Volkite Contemptor, I think it's got 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard, and the Inceptors you mentioned, and then like 3 troop units, Reziel, as a potential for this next tournament. I don't know how I feel about it. I really want to run what I've been running. Like, I really like the double Redemptor list, and I feel like I'm honing it, and I'm really enjoying it. But at the same time, like, I do really just want to win the tournament, because going 4-1 in that last tournament was really annoying when I feel like if the Dice Gods had been with me for just that first turn, I could have probably gone 5-0. And they didn't even need to actually be, the Dice Gods didn't even actually need to be with me, they just didn't need to be all fucking against me for that turn.
I really like the current list, but it would be funny as all hell to rock up to a tournament with a Falchion.
It would, especially if I think it confuses people, honestly, Tony. People don't know how to fight against it.
It confused me.
When I was picking it and like when I first started the channel and I was taking the Falchion every week, it got to a point where like I felt like this maybe is a bit bad for the people I'm fighting against on the channel, because I just win every game. Like, no one really knew how to deal with it.
I think it's changed a little bit now with all the sort of mortal wound spam. It will melt quite quickly to things like AdMech.
I suppose, but I mean, in some ways, it's kind of resilient.
Yeah, all those Iron Striders and whatnot.
Yeah. I haven't actually fought a list with all the Iron Striders yet. How long? So obviously at these GW tournaments, we see the AdMech being broken, and I don't think anyone wants to argue that AdMech aren't broken, right? Like, they are just super powerful. So if AdMech are too powerful, how long does it typically take Games Workshop to actually react to that? And this someone brought this up on a stream the other day, and they said, like, would it not be better if they did away with all the, they want people to subscribe to Warhammer Plus, right? So here's my 2 cents on how you get people to subscribe to Warhammer Plus. You do away with chapter, like, how chapter approved is like 2 parts. It's like there's the part of chapter approved that's got the points in it. I think it's called like the Munitionarum or something, and then there's the part of chapter approved with the missions and stuff. So you just do away with the chapter approved part of, you do away with a bit of the points, right? And you have more like part of Warhammer Plus now is like it's a more fluid meta. Like every month they make point changes, and it's done in the app or something. So it's like we're not killing a million trees every time they want to change some points and stuff. It's just done in the app. It's part of your subscription, and yeah, if we come out of like the London Grand Tournament and the people from Games Workshop get together on the Monday and go, right, the guy that won the London Grand Tournament just had fucking this totally broken list, we need to change the points on something of this, and they can just make the change and it can be filtered out like in a week, like almost like a video game. Like if something's broken in a video game, they can patch it and put it out like the same day, right?
I mean, there's a lot of people arguing for the idea of a living rule set. I mean, I'll be all over it. I mean, I bought the last chapter approved. We were going to use it for a video. We thought it was shit and ended up doing a tier list instead.
Is that what we did? I actually
But
don't remember.
I think the argument is that if you've just spent sort of 300 quid on Iron Striders and then they nerf it into the ground, you can have a lot of really pissed off people who've just spent a lot of money, whereas in a video game you've not spent any extra money.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of video games these days are like products as services, aren't they? Like, a good example, I suppose, would be like there's that new Battlefield game that's just coming out, right? I'm pretty sure there'll be a gun or something in that Battlefield game when it comes out that is almost like too strong, and like they'll do a patch where that gun will be made weaker. And I don't know how they're doing that new Battlefield game, but in the old Battlefield games, if you didn't want to rank up, you could just pay, and like you just pay extra and you just got the unlocks and stuff, right? And yeah, I'm sure it does annoy some people, but
yeah,
like,
I think I mean, mobile games are just put your money in constantly.
yeah, so I don't really see how anything's different. Like, for example, like Andrew bought 9 of those tanks knowing that those tanks were overpowered. Like, that's on him. Like, you know, he 100% probably knew like those tanks or those orc buggies are going to be nerfed. They are way too powerful, but I'm going to buy 9 of them, or in his case, I think it was 17 of them, you know? Like, is he really going to be that pissed off? Like, it was a conscious decision that...
How does he fund this stuff? Has he got a secret gold mine? Or...
I don't know how he funds it, but yeah, Andrew has a lot of Warhammer. Andrew has a lot of armies.
Every time you see him, he's like, well, I've just bought 5 of these things.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how he manages to paint it all, man.
You know, I quite fancy one of those flyers, a Storm Talon, but I know if I buy that, my wife is going to stab me.
Sanguinary Guard need a new model. They look very dated. Do they? I guess I don't mind the Sanguinary Guard.
They're awful. Terrible to build as well.
You think? Just because of the wings or what?
Those stupid wings that fall off.
Fair enough. I think we should get Primaris Sanguinary Guard at some point. If Black Templars are getting all these releases, like, hey, where's our release?
Here's something I was wondering about. Bobby G.
Rebooted Gulliman, yes. What about him?
You know, because we can use him. But A, I couldn't find the rules for bloody ages. And B, is it worth it? I don't know. 380 points.
I've looked at
Quite fancy the
Gilliman.
idea, because you're getting him in the Imperium magazine.
Oh, do you? Well, maybe we'll see some cool painted Blood Angels Gillimans. I've seen one. There's definitely one. If you Google image search, there's one for sure that's been done pretty cool.
Have you looked at him? I don't... He's quite good. He does bring quite a lot to the army.
He doesn't have Chapter Master rerolls, though, I think was the thing that put me off him, right? What makes you think
he's got his own version that's quite good?
I think he had like reroll ones, maybe, or something for Imperium. I don't know. I guess I'd have to check. Maybe there's a list where he fits with the
plus
Falchion.
1 to advance and charge. And re-roll hit rolls of 1.
For reroll hit rolls of 1 for what? Just like friendly Imperium,
and
or
re-roll
what?
morale tests. Yeah, friendly Imperium. So it's a way you can give re-rolls to things like knights
So could I give rerolls to my falchion if I had a Gilliman?
Or super heavy tanks.
Could I, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Alright, that's sounding interesting. 380 points kind of
I
scares me.
don't think he's
though.
good, but there's an army in there somewhere.
Yeah, 380 points is the scary part, right? What is he, like 9 wounds, T6 or something?
Yeah, it's that 3+ invuln, and then you got a 4+ of him coming back to life that keeps him alive.
Yeah.
But 9 wounds is good because it means he gets character protection.
Yeah, look out, sir, protection. What's his movement? Is it 6 or is it 7?
Stick a couple of those bodyguard units. It's got movement of 8.
Oh, movement of 8, wow, okay. So it can keep up with the super heavy tank as well for protection. A tech marine with Soul Warden. Oh no, he wouldn't get the benefit of Soul Warden because he's not Blood Angels though, would he?
Does it specify Blood Angels?
Soul Warden does, yeah. It's like friendly Blood Angels units within 6.
I remember in 8th there was a little spate of people bringing the big knights led by Bobby G. It's about the only way you can give them rerolls.
Yeah. Have you done any conversions?
Rerolls on a 650 point model is quite a big deal.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that's the exciting part. The reroll ones on the falchion when you can already hit on 2s, like that is crazy good. Plus, you could almost just send the falchion aggressive at that point because, like, if anyone charged the falchion, then Bobby G is going to come in with Hand of the Emperor or whatever it's called and just wreck them, right? Because actually, I think his sword's actually better. I think his sword does immortals. It's been a little while since
Depends on what you're hitting. For
fought against
Hordy
Goleman.
stuff, the sword's a lot better. Toughness 8 things, you want to be using the fist.
Gauntlet, but yeah, he's flexible in terms of what he can fight, and he.
You know, he's pretty punchy. He's going to be able to sit behind and give rerolls to that big old tank.
So what you're proposing here is that I build the cheesiest list that I can to fight Andrew's buggies at this tournament.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Does sound a little bit attractive.
I mean, nobody's going to know what to do against it, are they?
He's got a 4 damage fist. I'm sure his sword does mortal wounds.
Yeah, it's 3 damage, and then wound rolls of 6 do D3 mortal wounds.
Oh, D3. Wow. Put 2 company veterans with him as well. We're building up a nice little... Everyone's on board with this idea now. 20. What was I going to say?
I don't expect it to win in the long run. It's going to be one of those lists that's either going to win big or lose magnificently.
Yeah, go big or go home, I guess. I have done conversions. Oscar was asking, but I haven't really done many with Age of Sigmar models. Not at all. When I do conversions, it's usually from like another it's usually something from like another Space Marine faction, or like it could be something from Necromunda or something like that, but not so much Age of Sigmar. I have looked at the Stormcast, and I know some people have done like great conversions with like Stormcast models, but no, I haven't done any. And then what was the other thing? What's my favorite? What's my favorite Blood Angels model in terms of looks? I actually don't know what my favourite model is in terms of looks. A lot.
Mephiston.
I was going to say Mephiston probably just because he's the one that's had the new cast, right? But it's kind of biased on Mephiston just because he's been updated while all the other characters haven't been updated. If the other characters had been updated, then we'd be able to compare. So Mephiston has a very nice model now, and it's sort of like
but he's a vampire lord.
He's the Lord of Death, but he's crapper than the Chief
Just because
Library.
he's new, it doesn't take away from that magnificent hair.
Yeah. I just feel very sad about Mephiston, man. You know, he's just very difficult to get to work in an army list, I guess. Like, I'm going to try him maybe one more time. We'll see. I'm not sure. But I think if I try him one more time, we're just going to have to play him, like, super defensively. Because I don't think he works in any other capacity. Like, he is not a good defensive character anymore. Because if he ever gets left isolated, he just dies. And that's what happened this week, I guess. He got left isolated for a single turn. Blade Guard veterans failed like a 4-inch charge. Mephiston just dies. Victrix Guard are so
Mark
good.
really likes him, but I still think the Librarian Dreadnoughts better.
Why are the Victrix Guard so good? I don't often see the Victrix Guard. They came in the box set with Marneus Calgar, right? So have you subscribed to Warhammer Plus?
I know they
then,
make
Tony?
a really nice set from Forge World. Yeah, I am. I was already subscribed to the app, and for a couple more quid, I thought it was worth it.
Yeah, have you found anything that you've been liking on it, or what do you think? What's your opinion on it so far?
The painting workshops are surprisingly good. I thought they were going to be a bit rubbish.
Okay.
I quite like the fact that they're not shying away from some of the more advanced techniques. Although it's quite funny watching them hide the non-Games Workshop products.
Oh, do they use non-Games Workshop
Yeah,
products?
they're using a wet palette and they carefully make sure it's out of shot.
Okay.
Because, most sort of like more competition or style painters use sort of a mixture of products. They don't use all GW or anything like that. And on there, they don't want to show that off.
Yeah, makes sense, I suppose.
I thought the battle reports just didn't feel right. To me, they should be on YouTube as a kind of introduction to the game, trying to get new players into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, in some ways...
Anybody who's invested enough to have bought the app already knows how the game works.
Yeah, I think that'd be fair to say. So I watched the Blood Angels versus Orc battle report, and I just felt like it was quite at a low level in terms of like, am I going to learn anything from this battle report? No. So why would I spend my time watching it? That'd be fair to say.
It felt like, when you have these intro games in the store with the people who work there.
Yeah, I agree. Which I think is the wrong audience, right? Like you said, like the audience that have paid for the app are not the audience that need those introductory games. We'll see. I did say before, they sometimes ask for feedback on they've been asking for feedback on Warhammer Plus and stuff. Maybe if you guys in chat and stuff, next time you see them ask for feedback, if everybody could bomb their Facebook posts with we want to see competitive battles from our favorite YouTubers on here, that would be grand. That's what I want to see. YouTuber versus YouTuber. I feel like I could give some of them a run for their money. I was watching. You guys, I'm probably all familiar with Chapter Master Valric. I think he's away to a tournament this weekend. I was watching him a little bit was it last night or the night before? And he's got Iron Hands. No, not Iron Hands, sorry. Imperial Fists. He's got an Imperial Fist list, and I don't want to say it's a bad list, but it felt quite middle of the road in terms of like if it was a tier list.
Is that the one with 1,000,000 tanks?
He had like 30 intercessors, 3 redemptors, I think he had a repulsor in there as well. 5 blade guard vets. I mean,
It's got one with about 5 repulsors in it.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel like a bad list, but it also didn't feel like super competitive. And like his first opponent was like a double Catan Necron, and I was like, man, he has no protection against mortal wounds, and he's got no fight last. So like, I don't actually, and he only had like 1 Psyker, so like, I don't actually know how you really deal with 2 Catans.
I mean, fists are in a bad spot anyway, and I think he's just leaning into the fluffy list.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But I don't know. I felt a little scared for him. It looked like a pretty difficult Necron list to deal with anyway. I fought Andrew before when he said 2 Catans, but the thing was, I think Varak actually doesn't really like. Maybe he doesn't like. He basically said like, I don't fight against Necrons, and I was like, oh shit. So you're gonna fight a double Catan list, and you don't really know how they work. That's going to be rough. And like, for example, like if you don't know how they work, then when the Nightbringer gets in combat and he just goes, oh, by the way, you can't take invulnerable saves, you're going to be like, say what? You know, you're gonna have a bad day. Yeah. I think Catans are maybe
Necrons are getting a lot of hate at the moment, but I still think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad at all.
I think they're a nicely balanced army.
Yeah, and they got some cool new things recently. Like, I like the Lich Guards. I think they're really cool. I think it just gives you that nice... you know, in some ways they're a bit like Wraithblades, aren't they? Like for the Eldar, like you don't really expect Eldar to have close combat troops if you're up against an Eldar army or like a Craft World army. You expect to get shot off the table, but then it's like, oh, but we have this one Wraithblade unit that we can make like 3++, and we can also give a Feel No Pain, and we can also give them a double movement from our Psychic phase, and they're just generally like a really nasty little army. Or a nasty little unit that can complement the army, and I think Necrons have that. Like, I think some of the new John played them against me. They're not Lich Guard, but they're the Necrons with the 2 swords. I actually kind of like them. Necrons are hot garbage. Double Catan can be difficult if you don't have ways of dealing with that. That can definitely be difficult, I feel like.
I think they're a very balanced army, and at the moment there's too many armies that are so unbalanced that they're going to struggle, very much like we do in a really competitive setting.
Yeah, that's probably how we're Necron.
They've got no way of dealing with some of the really big, nasty stuff.
The entire
I think when they
Necron
write
army.
the books, Reziel, that they're trying to think in that kind of everybody plays narrative, and they've just not written them with the hyper competitive spammy lists in mind.
Yeah, someone actually posted a comment on that. I don't know if you guys saw the survey I put up on our channel this week. Double Catan is terrible. Yeah, I mean, double Catan is a lot of points, but if you don't have effective ways of killing Catan in each phase, then you can have problems, I guess, right? If you're like an Imperial Fist player who just has shooting, then you're going to have problems dealing with double Catan, I guess. Yeah, someone actually posted up on like the thing I made on the post I had about melee and ranged armies, and basically just said like, Blood Angels suck right now, there's nothing else to say about it. And I was like, well, I don't agree with that. I don't think we suck right now. I don't think we're the strongest, but and I think maybe some of our stuff might be a bit costly. For example, you think I think Sangregard are overcosted. Honestly, I've said that before, and I don't think I'm being biased. I know I'm a Blood Angels player, but I thought Sangregard could have moved honestly from 30 points down to 28. They 100% in my mind didn't need to go up to 32.
Yeah, I've just found that comment. Waiting for 10th or 2nd 9th edition codex are terrible right now.
Yeah. But that's kind of sad when some people are struggling that much that they just think the army's hot garbage, I guess. But I mean, if you're playing a lot of games and you're losing every game and you don't know why, and you're not, I guess that's the advantage of those tier list videos we made. Like, if people aren't picking things that are high in the tier lists and they're losing all the time, then it's like, right now you just need to go and look at the tier list, and it's not ideal. You've bought all these models, like you said, and they're not super great. So you need to sort of have a think outside the box and be like, right, I need to buy some more of these things that are a bit more competitive. And I mean, that's how Games Workshop make their money, I guess. They release models that are good, but they release other ones that are better, and that happens every edition. They sell the I guess, like, look at the Volkite Contemptors. They sell them till they go out of stock, and then they don't restock them, and I guess they're probably going to change or nerf them, right?
Probably, but Forge World's all over the place.
Yeah, Forge World. Forge World have had supply issues, I guess, for a while now. There's things have been out of stock like they never were out of stock pre-pandemic, I feel like. I mean, I think they had some.
I've got this Supremacy armor I'm working on, but the guy who bought it, he had it for 6 months with no arms.
Just because they're out of stock, basically.
They built the main bit, but no arms.
Wow. Guess that's the way.
Surely
it goes.
they build as many arms as they have armors.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Or near enough.
Alright, grav gun. I'm going to put some green on that grav gun. So how many Primaris Tech Marines have you got painted, Tony?
At the moment, I've only got one painted, but I've got another one sitting in a box.
Okay. Yeah,
I still think there's something in a double Tech Marine healing the same vehicle.
You can't heal the same vehicle. That's one of the stipulations.
Can't you?
No, it's definitely one of those.
Box, then.
I'm like 90% sure you can't heal the same vehicle. Alright, we'll agree on challenge Andy Chambers and Rick Presley vs your crew. Who are Andy Chambers and Rick Presley? Sorry.
Classics. They're some of the original writers for Games Workshop.
Oh well, they're not going to speak to me like I'm a nobody. I got ways to go before we. I mean,
I thought Rick Priestley had left GW though.
Good evening, Dex.
This is back in the golden years when Tycho was still good.
I don't ever remember when Tycho was good, man. What silver would you pick if you're trying to make a glowing white blade? That's a good question. I tend to use glazes on my blades. So like I imagine if you want to make glowing white, I don't actually know how you do that. Glowing white. Tony, how would you paint glowing white?
Are you trying to stick to GW products, Anthony? There's a few sort of other manufacturers of paints that do some really bright. You can get some, even all the way up to metallic white paint. Vallejo makes some, Darkstar makes some really nice ones. I use a lot of Scale Colour. They make a really bright white.
Go outside, Citadel paints. Yeah, I mean, I don't paint my blades white, I guess that's my problem. I usually go with something like the Fang and then paint some highlights on them with like, what's that? It's an edge paint I use. Like sometimes I use like something like Blue Horror and then I glaze them afterwards. So my blades are more blue with, try and do like blue with lightning on them. I haven't experimented really with white blades. I kind of got a blue blade the way I like it, and then I paint my whole army the same way, I guess. Vallejo Metal Colour is a white aluminium paint which is very bright. Well, I've used Vallejo paints for other stuff and they have been very good. Probably better than the Games Workshop paints I've used, so that's maybe worth thinking about.
If you want to go outside the norm, there's a company called Instar, and they make a few weird sort of like paint additives and things like that. So they make some like a metallic additive that you can add to literally titanium white, and that gives a really good effect. It's a little bit fiddly, but it gives a cool finish.
Yeah, I say my painting is more like a battle ready plus. Like I'm the greatest painter, but I will kick your ass on the table with a reasonably painted army. It's like that bit from Top Gear, right? Like start with a reasonably painted army. Vallejo also has a metal varnish which gives a metallic effect to any colour you put under it without any discoloration. It contains mica flakes for the sheen. Yeah, I bought Vallejo paint before. I bought it from Amazon and it was like super cheap, and I was really impressed with it. I thought it was way better than because I bought Vallejo, I think it's just Vallejo white or Vallejo standard white, whatever you would call it, and it was like, just because the Games Workshop white, it separates something, it's like, ugh. It's hard to explain, but the Games Workshop white I feel is not good.
I've got a mix of Corax white and a couple of thinners and additives, and that works really, really well if I want to just put a white over something to paint it another colour.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Corax white is... It seems to always want to separate in the pot, doesn't it? And then it gets a bit, like, lumpy and stuff. Is that just me, or
that's what the thinners are for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Corax white at all. I obviously paint my Sangre Guard using white wings, and when I was using Corax white, it was just like, it was a literal nightmare.
Chimera make probably the best sort of standard acrylic paint that I've used for white. I really like the fact they only use a single pigment in their colours, which is great for mixing. All the heavy body stuff, you go proper artist paint and you can get some phenomenal. Yeah, I use a bit of white ink resi. I'm actually literally using it as we speak.
How is Tony's disembodied voice on stream? Because he invaded my house. I can't get rid of him. If you want to come round and get rid of him, I'd appreciate it.
I'm floating behind him like a spirit.
No, we were going to be filming a video together tonight, but the stars just didn't align, so we're just hanging out. Thanks for being here, Tony. Maybe after...
Anytime, I've got some painting done.
I was going to say, maybe after the world goes back to normal and you can visit people and all that, and you can come up to Scotland and have a game on the channel or something. How long of a drive would that be for
Bring
you?
my Thunderhawk.
If you must.
You're north of Scotland, aren't you? So it's probably about 8 hours or so.
Yeah, I'm about 3.5 hours north of Glasgow. So very, very north. And once you get about 50 or 60...
It takes me 6 hours to get to Glasgow from here.
Okay. And once you get 50 miles north of Glasgow, the dual carriageway disappears and you're on, like... I don't even know what you call that, but one car one way, one car the other way. Like, is that what they call it? It's not single track, but...
Single carriageway.
Single carriageway, yeah. Like, it's not... Yeah, so technically you can still go at 70, I think, but... yeah, like, if you want to overtake something, it's... Like, you just... If you're stuck behind a lorry and you don't know the road, then you're stuck behind that lorry for 30 miles until the next place you can pass. Unless you want to risk your life and try and pass them, and there's a road up here called the A9, and it's like notoriously bad for accidents because it is that, you know, it's like 100, I think it's 120 miles that goes from like Perth to Inverness, and they've been starting to dual carriageway, like some of it, but 10 years ago when there was like no dual carriageway on it, it was just like notoriously bad for accidents because people would be frustrated, you know, like being behind a lorry for like 30 miles doing like 50 and there's literally nowhere to pass it.
I'm going to bring my camper van up at some point and the mountain bike because I want to go to Fort William.
Oh yeah, that's not far from where I am.
Because there's a World Cup downhill track.
Okay. Up there you also get the Cairngorm mountain range, which is a pretty great mountain range if you ever if you're into any sort of like sightseeing and stuff like that. The Cairngorm mountain actually has like a, what they call it.
My wife's never been to Scotland before.
Oh really? Okay. Well, you have to come north of the wall.
I'm going to bring her up there at some point and show her around the sights.
When we see you, you have to shout King of the North. How far am I from Wick? A couple hours. Maybe 2.5 hours. I need to paint my Tep Marine this week. I guess I can do it tomorrow. Yeah, it's a fun model. I'm enjoying painting this Tep Marine. Lots still to do on him. Just doing a bit of washing and stuff, and then usually after I've done a bit of washing, I like to do like quite a lot of tidy up because I don't do edge highlighting on my Red Army guys. I do washes and stuff and then tidy up and stuff, but what's your main raid there, John? It's actually Evil Sun Scarlet. So some people go Mephiston Red on the base coat and then like edge highlight Evil Sun Scarlet. I take the lazy way and I just go, I do undercoat with Mephiston Red, then I put 2 coats of Evil Sun Scarlet on, and then my lazy way is I just Agrax Earthshade. It, like, basically pin wash, and I guess what I mean by pin wash is like, you see all these little bits in here, so I just put Agrax Earthshade into all the recesses. So rather than like edge highlight, which I'm very slow at doing, my plan is to start with a little bit of a brighter red and then sort of bring it down to sort of like a gruffer sort of tone, because it feels a little gnarly. Like the Agrax makes the model feel a bit dirty, so that's kind of how I get my like grim dark feel without doing a lot of edge highlighting and stuff. I do edge highlight black because I guess this technique doesn't work if you're, like, I was going to paint Death Company for example, this technique wouldn't work on Death Company because like there's no, like if you put a wash over black it's still going to be black, I guess, right? But yeah, it's kind of a neat little trick you can do if you don't want to have to edge highlight rank and file troops. But I started this technique when I was.
I'd love to be up there.
Where about in Scotland are you? Okay, I'm
downhill track.
I'm just across the way, about 30 or 40 miles from Fort William, I think. A little town called Elgin. But yeah, it's coming up to midnight actually. Time has flown past tonight. I don't know where the time went. I guess just because we've been chatting and hanging out, time has flown past. So at midnight, I'm gonna call it. I have a new video coming out tomorrow. Tactics video talking about mortal wounds. So if you wanted to know the best way to deal mortal wounds, protect against mortal wounds, that's what's coming out tomorrow. Not entirely sure what time that's coming out yet tomorrow because I need to make a thumbnail and stuff. So maybe about lunchtime, so I can make the thumbnail at lunchtime.
Lord Moria, I've tried that. It rubs off really, really easy.
The world's
You've got to use a couple of coats of varnish between it.
Black? Is that a paint color or something? Is it?
Yeah, it's a company called Culture Hustle, made the world's blackest black.
Okay.
It's really for artists rather than miniatures.
I see. Okay, so what? It just doesn't adhere to the models very well, or what?
Yeah, basically. It's just not really designed for it.
I see. Does sound like a cool idea, though. I suppose it depends on your edge highlighting, though, like, because if you do a solid edge highlighting job on the black, I don't know if it needs to be the blackest black. Any black is probably okay, right?
Yeah, I actually use a really dark blue rather than black, because that means I can use the black for the shades.
Oh, you play against a Death Guard player who's gone super competitive and he's taking 3 Relic Contemptors. Those Relic Contemptors with the Volkites need nerfed. They don't need nerfed as badly as the Orc Buggies or the Admech, but they need nerfed as well. Like, and I guess this would be the best thing if they did that, Tony. If it was an app on your phone that had the points costs and they could be updated like every month or something. If every month is too much, let's say every 6 weeks by GW, and they could just, they could almost write like patch notes, like a video game, like, hey, we've decided to put the point cost of Relic Contemptors up by 5 points for each Contemptor arm this month. The reason being is we think it's too easy for them to dish out mortal wounds. They were too cheap at 5 points per model. Everybody's running them. Apparently there was a joke at the London Grand Tournament that there was more Relic Contemptors at the London Grand Tournament than Games Workshop have ever sold, and like the joke was that like so many people had like basically like proxied them or recasted them or 3D printed them, so like everybody and their mum are running Relic Contemptors, so we've decided that they're going to go up 5 points per arm, and that'll be effective as of today. We don't need to sell you a new book, we've just done it in the app. And we'll continue to monitor the Relic Contemptors, and if it's still the case that everybody and their mum are still running Relic Contemptors in a month's time, maybe we'll have another look at it. Like, I feel like that would be much preferable to where we are right now, where it's like, oh, let's use Necrons as an example. Rezio was saying that he thinks Necrons are really not in a good spot right now. All their models are overcosted. So what happens to the Necron players? They just have to wait for a year to get like an update. It's like, all right, you're just shit, but you're going to be shit for a year. I think
for only making small adjustments, that could work quite well. It's still a lot better than remember the previous editions where you literally didn't get any.
Yeah, true. And also, here's another thing
they
that's
released it, and if it was broken, you live with it.
Yeah. The other thing that this would be good for is, like, we do not need to cut down 1,000,000 trees to basically sell you the exact same book that we sold you last year, and it'll get them to, like, a lot more people will subscribe to their app. Because you need the points costs, and if the meta is stale, the meta is stale. Like, I think it would be better if it's like a living, breathing meta, you know, as opposed to, like, yeah, I don't know. I have tried to avoid the Relic Contemptor thing, I really have, but I want to win this next tournament that I'm going to, so if they do not nerf Relic Contemptors before the next tournament, excuse me, at some point I'm hoping to get rid of this damn cough. I've had it for like a month. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, like, if they're never gonna nerf the Relic Contemptors, then at some point I guess I'm gonna use them. And newsflash, you cannot even buy those Relic Contemptor things, so I've actually got Andrew to 3D, well, I've told Andrew to 3D print one for me, right? But, like, that would be illegal to have him 3D print it, but if I go round to his house and he loads up his 3D printer and gets me to press the button, then that's okay.
I think technically you're supposed to design it as well, but...
Oh, I'm supposed to design it as well, okay. Well, I guess I can't do that part. Okay.
But if you printed it in, like, bits and then assembled it, then surely that's you making one.
Thank you so much for the subscription, RBT93. How you doing? Don't they still put updates on White Dwarf magazines? Haven't played since 4th edition, so behind on resources. I don't think they do still put... What they do is they sell you chapter approved once every year, and typically that's got the points costs, and sometimes they do FAQs. But, like, there isn't really a hard date on when they do FAQs, is there? Like, maybe that's what maybe that would go a long way to helping it, if you knew that there was going to be like a summer and a winter FAQ that was gonna change the meta, so you don't get situations where, you know, I mean, like, when you have a situation like Andrew's list where he's literally running 9 of the same units times 2, does that not just tell you, hey, those units probably need to be looked at? But yeah, I'm gonna have to call it a night. I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit here anyway.
Dex, I think you're the reason for the shortage of Dreadnoughts, mate.
You bought 8 Contemptors. Just call a spade a spade. 75% of them are recasts, yeah. Well, my one Relic Contemptor and both its arms, or both the Las Cannon arms, were actual Forge World ones. And I did a video on them actually on this channel of me making it, but yeah, the Contemptor arms are impossible to get, the Volkite ones. But yeah, thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. I will probably see you guys this weekend. I think we'll be live Saturday night. We'll be live with the show on Sunday. I don't actually know who we're playing yet on Monday night, but we'll definitely be playing somebody. And thank you tonight, Tony, for hanging out. It was nice to speak to you again. And I'll keep you in the loop when we finally get round to doing this painting competition / Blood Angels armies on parade. I think it should be pretty fun. Alright, we'll catch you guys later. By the blood are we made strong.
Cheers all, good night.
Good night, peace.
John, you're muted on the